Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. The first video we're going to do is Turned Out in Prison. My homie, Jay Williams. Let's live life. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. There's a handful of people that are watching, but only a handful of people are actually subscribing. So we want to push that subscriber count up. Also, if you have any crazy videos or viral videos you come across that maybe I haven't seen yet, you can post them in my community tab. And if I feel that it fits the channel, then I will, do a reaction to it and give you credit for sending it to me. Also, you can also send it to me through direct message on Instagram. And I will see it over there as well too. So also you guys could also follow me over there on my professional account over there. I have that in my on the description of the channel itself. And if you click maybe even the video that you're watching this video, or if you click on one of my music songs, you will instantly see my Instagram, where you can hit it, go over there, follow me over there, and you can send me viral stuff that you think that would fit the channel to react to. But let's get into this. Turned Out in Prison. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Let's get into it.
And you already know what it is. Jay Williams, let's live life, and we're back. Turned Out in Prison. Now, I've done a couple of these videos already. Part 1s, part 2s, and some that weren't even labeled Turned Out in Prison. That's exactly what the video was. This is Turned Out in Prison. The story of Bubba, a.k.a. Bubbalicious. And how a normal dude that didn't have anything, that didn't bother nobody, that didn't have bad charges, got turned out. Now, in today's story, there's a whole lot of names from the past. Big Dana, Jingling.
Big Dana, Jingling. I've heard her talk about them before. Let's continue.
Bubbalicious, Grandma, B. Randy. Characters, people I've spoken about in the past, real guys that did real time here in the state that I live in. I think most times we look at somebody like that in prison and we automatically think that that's what they like, or that's their get down. When in reality, a lot of these guys didn't come in here looking to be with no other man, had no desire to be with no other man, never made plans to be with another man. But one day they get overpowered and something terrible happens to them. And from that point there, everybody knows it continues to happen. This person does it. That person does it. They know you're not going to fight back. They know you're weak. They know you're an easy target. They know that if they go at you, they're going to accomplish their mission. The next thing you know, you have been turned out in prison. You no longer walk around as a man. Now you walk around as a boy. I've seen it. And that's what this is today, the story of Bubbalicious, turned out in prison. How one man came in battling addiction, his issues with being a thief, not having anything, not knowing any better, putting his trust in the wrong people, and how it led him to a lifetime of being a victim, and ultimately led him to something that couldn't be washed off, something that would ultimately take his life. Turned Out in Prison Part 3. I hope y'all ready, man. This is a crazy one. Y'all know how to see it. You know I don't live it, so let's relive it. Now,
let's relive it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Join the Young Tripp family. I drop videos every day. Let's get into it.
You do any substantial amount of time, you're going to meet a lot of men. You're going to have a lot of cellmates. You're going to meet a lot of dudes you're cool with over the years. You're going to hear a lot of crazy names. And you're definitely going to end up doing time around the boys. What are the boys? The boys are the homosexuals. the Gumps, the Sissies. They have a whole lot of names for men to get down with stuff like that. But the center of today's story is Bubba, a.k.a. Bubbalicious. I couldn't tell you when I met Bubba. I want to say it was the early thousands when I first got there. It feels like Bubba was always just there. Now, I do remember initially seeing Bubba. It was because of how he looked. He wore these round, pink-framed John Lennon glasses. Of all places to have anything pink on in prison. I guess he got locked up in them. Anybody that knows Bubba, get in the comment section, let them know the man wore pink, round-framed glasses. But he was an average-looking dude. Really bad hygiene. Really, really dirty teeth. Pop belly. 5'9", 5'10", 180, 190 maybe. Not a fighter. Not a trouble starter. But he was sneaky. He was the hustle man. He was going to make something shake. He was always trying to sell this or sell that. Blue jeans and New Balances and the Pro Tims and all these things we could get in prison back then. He was the hustle man. And that's what I remember of Bubba when I first met him. Seeing him run around like a chicken with his head cut off. He's the type of dude that if you gave him a shrimp soup, nobody eats shrimp soups. He'd be going door to door trying to trade it until somebody traded with him. Or if you gave him a blue bag of coffee, he'd go find somebody to trade the yellow bag. Or if you had this, he's going to trade. He was just the hustle man. That was Bubba's get down. He didn't get no help from the streets. Never, ever once did I see this man get on the phone. Never, ever once did I see him go to the visitation room. And I did years around Bubbalicious. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I was extremely homophobic coming into prison. Super homophobic coming into prison. I thought that if you talked to a gay guy, you were seen anywhere around a gay guy, it was like you were gay. That was just my mindset. So I was very aggressive when I first came in. If you were gay and you approached me, and I know this ain't right now, but back then if you were gay and you approached me, I would base up on you. If you sat down at my table now you can't sit here. Seats taken. Before they said the Forrest Gump, seats taken.
Seats taken.
You can't sit here. I was extremely homophobic. I'd never dealt with anything like that in the streets. I'd never been around like, anything like that in life. So coming into prison, it was complete culture shock to see so many gay men. Now, at this time, there wasn't the whole trans movement. I don't want to call it a movement, but the whole trans movement hadn't really popped off yet. Like, there were gay men, but a lot of these men were turned gay while they were in prison. They didn't come in gay. Don't have anything. You can't defend yourself. Guys are trying to get at you. This can either go smooth or this can be very violent and painful. So these guys would eventually link up with somebody in the form of protection, in the form of getting fed, being taken care of. I can't tell you how many times I heard men say, I'm not gay on the streets. I leave all this here when I leave here. I got a wife and kids on the streets. When I leave up out of here, all this stays, which used to just blow my mind because I couldn't see them as anything other than what I knew them for being. I remember times I would see guys that would walk around as punks all day long, talk a certain type of way, do certain things, super flamboyant, and then somebody would come to see them, and like that, they would turn it off. The tone of their voice would change. The way they dressed would change. The way they switched their hips when they walked, all that would go away, and they would go over there as themselves, leave out the visiting room, and come back as a boy. So I meet Bubbalicious early on in my bid. A lot of people just called him Bubba, and the guys that had known him for a very long time, T, Nate, Dog, there's a whole bunch of different dudes that have been doing time with Bubba since forever. They would call him Bubbalicious. Hey, where Bubbalicious at? I get over my whole homophobia thing, right? An old head told me one time, he said, there's some things in prison that they're never going to take out. It's going to be here till the end of time. Penitentiary wine ain't never going nowhere. Tattooing in prison ain't never going nowhere. Knives in prison ain't never going nowhere. And homosexuality, there's some things you just going to have to deal with, Jay. That man don't want you. That boy don't want you. Why is he going to go with you knowing that you don't play ball? You know what'll happen to him if he goes to a straight man and offends him? And no, they're not doing that. They're going after guys that they know like that type of thing. It doesn't take me but a couple of years and I get past the whole homophobia thing. I come to understand you live here just like I live here. You don't want me. You're not going to come at me sideways. Okay, then we're good. And you're going to need these dudes at certain times as well. Most of the guys that sold in prison were gay. A lot of the guys that did hair in prison were gay. Some of the best barbers I've seen were gay. They serve a purpose. I don't exactly remember to the T how I ended up, the whole conversation with me and Bubba started, or how Bubba just became somebody that I would talk to here and there, deal with when I had to. But over time, I get to know Bubba. And I know one thing about Bubba. Bubba's got a lot of larceny with him. A lot of larceny. And he's not a fighter. I've seen him time and time again get beat all the way up and not even try to fight back. I've seen him get slapped and just turn his head and throw his arm up and be like, all right, you got it. And just walk off and take it on the chin. At first glance, other than them glasses with them pink lenses in it, you wouldn't think Bubba was gay. He didn't carry himself like the other boys. He didn't wear the tight clothes. He didn't switch the way he talked. He didn't do the fake makeup, or he didn't do any of that. Just looked like I said, a regular white dude with bad hygiene. But after being around him for a little while, it doesn't take me long to realize Bubba is gay. Dudes will make comments like, Bubba, you better bring me them cigarettes. If not, you know what you're going to do. I'm going to put you on your knees, Bubba. We ain't trying to take it.
If you say something like that and to a straight dude, just imagine if he said that to one of us that's watching, or that, me reacting, or one of you guys who's watching. We'll be ready to use that sword of justice, use our hands, so forth and so forth, if somebody said something like that. He didn't do anything. So that told Jay, yeah, he really rocked like that. Because he didn't do nothing. I can only imagine if somebody says some stuff like that to me. You getting knocked out. Hands, feet, sword of justice, and all. I better what? Now it's time to use hands and feet and all that, and you better be lucky even if you get it. Would be like us people who are, straight, would, would say. Let's continue.
Back there, that's not something you say to a straight man. You're not about to, in front of 80-some men in here, yell across the pod to me and tell me that if I don't have your money, you're going to put me on my knees. Because that right there that's the ultimate sign of disrespect. Who can stop what we're doing? What the fuck did you just say out your mouth? I'm not one of them. Bubba wasn't a bad dude. Bubba was also in a cell with a dude named Grandma. If y'all have watched his channel, y'all gonna love this video because there's so many great names in this. He was in a cell with a dude named Grandma. Grandma reminded me of Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. That guy. Kids? Hey, I just want to talk to you. Just like that. That was Grandma to the T. Looked like him, but talked more feminine and whistled through his teeth when he talked. Both of them are gay. They live in a cell together. Grandma could sew his ass off. Bubba was constantly hustling, bringing this and bringing that. In the streets, Bubba's a thief. He's a crackhead. He deals with his addiction. But his addiction would send him back to prison time and time again. It seemed like everybody I talked to that was somebody knew Bubba. Like Bubba had legitimately been coming in and out of the system since the 80s. So Bubba is the hustle man. From point A to point B. If you need it, Bubba can get it. This time you can still smoke in prison. Cigarettes were a big deal. Most men, the only thing they had to look forward to was a cup of coffee and a cigarette in the morning. Other than that, life sucked. Well, I've done so much business with Bubba at this point that I talk to Bubba here and there. There's no, why wouldn't I talk to Bubba? Bubba ain't never done nothing to me. Bubba ain't gonna come on to me. And it really seems like the only time I would ever see Bubba do something where he was like doing something he should be doing would be when he got in debt. Other than that, he wasn't doing nothing like that. He didn't have a man. He was one of the few boys I would see, or I would say that I saw during my entire bid, that did not have a man at some point. Over time, I get to find out more and more and more about Bubba. He doesn't have any family. And then one day he gives me the story on how he became Bubbalicious. We're sitting at this table out in the middle of the pod.
Get ready, y'all. We're about to get into the real part of the story. We know Jay took a little while to get there. But make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. I'm also watching this in real time with y'all. So I haven't seen it before. So there may be quite a bit of pausing. I did listened to quite a bit of it because I did do a recording already of it, but then the GoPro died, so that's why I'm having to re-record it again. But for the most part, I haven't really seen this video before, so let's get ready. Let's get into it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. A handful of people are watching, but only so many people are joining the family. Let's continue.
Dude Jingling in the pod had just went and messed with this dude that was in the shower. Jingling was a notorious booty bandit that was known for going at white dudes and trying to turn them out. But we get on the topic of Jingling. And Jingling had just went to this shower earlier that day, and there was this new white dude in there showering. Now, these are single-man showers with the half-stall door. You've been up Greensville, you know what I'm talking about. This dude is in the shower, and he's lathered up. And dudes are up front getting ready to go to chow. This dude, I guess, ain't going. And Jingling goes up to the shower to tell him, hey, they calling chow. But he's not really trying to tell him nothing. He's trying to look in on him. And he walks all the way up to the door, looks over the door at this dude, looks in at him, as this man is standing there fully lathered up, younger white dude, makes some comments. Dude comes out ball naked, starts swinging. It's what you're supposed to do. Probably should have put some clothes on, but you definitely want to handle that situation right then and right there. Well, we're talking about this situation. And this is when Bubba spills the whole everything he had been through that led him up to being Bubbalicious, which brings us in to turn down prison. Bubba said he came in as a teenager, like anybody else. He said, I came in at a time, Jay, where the transsexuals and all that was not taking place. And like I said, at this point, it was just now becoming a thing where you were seeing dudes come in from the streets that had boobs or butt jobs or that were doing this prior to coming to prison. Now, you had a lot of dudes coming in that wanted to do this out in the streets, but their family would look at them funny, or their homeboys were. When you come into prison, this is an accepted thing for a lot of men, right? But he tells me, I come in as a teenager. Crack had just hit real big. I got all the way messed up on it. Started stealing cars, TVs, VCRs. You know it's old if you're stealing a VCR. Stealing all these different things to feed my habit. The next thing you know, I've got all these felony charges. When they arrest me, I've got a rack of breaking and entering, and I get sent off to prison. Had a girl when I left the streets, but no sooner I left the streets, he says she was a crackhead, so she probably went on with the next guy. I don't know what happened with her. He said,
And also, yep, exactly what that other dude, what he did to Jingling, coming out of the shower and boom, 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 boom. Using those hands is exactly what you're supposed to do. Let's continue.
I have nothing. The 3 meals they feed you a day, and you know them meals ain't going very far. Some of them aren't even edible. He says she was a crackhead, so she probably went on with the next guy. I don't know what happened with her. He said, I have nothing. The 3 meals they feed you a day, and you know them meals ain't going very far. Some of them aren't even edible. So sometimes it might be 2 meals a day. Or there might be something you just cannot stomach to eat anymore. You ain't about to put on no weight just eating prison trays. You're not. You're going to lose weight quick. So he tells me, he said the sexual assaults back.
And he's definitely right about that. The video that I did regarding the adopted mom story that I have on my channel, where the adopted mother was trying to teach her 2 adopted sons what will happen to them if they continue to go down the same path. We talk a lot about the whole prison trays and stuff in that video, if you really want to hear more about that. Let's continue. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
In the 80s and the early 90s were very, very bad. Like it was pretty much it was a common thing. Unless you were 6'5" and you were a gorilla and you could make other men fear you. So this all feeds back into the whole Jingling story. Now, if you don't know who Jingling is, let me tell you about Jingling. I've already told y'all Bubba, 5'9", 5'10", 185, 190, dirty teeth, shabby brown hair, round glasses, pink frames. That was Bubba. Pop belly. Jingling is a black dude. His hair was slicked back all the time. Always kept his hair slicked back. Really shiny and slicked back, right? And he walked with a limp. Jingling is shorter. He's 5'6", 5'7", probably 200, 215, maybe 220. Darker skin complexion, rough looking skin, fat dude. Chased white dudes with the intent of turning them white dudes into white boys. When I first got there, yeah, I lived in cell 20. He lived in 19 with his brother Will. He comes to my door. I've heard the rumors about Jingling, and everybody I dealt with at that point were very, very solid. And they said, there's no way around it. Do not be nice with him. Don't cut no corners. If he comes to your cell, he pushes up on you, pull the blade on him, exert yourself immediately.
Facts. And the game that they spit to Jay is exactly what dudes who try to turn out other dudes in prison should definitely do. So they told him exactly right. Make sure you pull out that sword of justice. Make sure you use your hands, or something, and let him know you ain't rocking like that if you ain't rocking like that. Because he already think just because of the color of your skin that he thinks that you some soft little pillow that he could control and turn you into one of his boys. Let's continue.
If not, he's going to know you're somebody he can converse with, and he's going to shoot his shot. You've got to put fear in him, or at least let him know you're willing to bang out the moment he makes a conversation. And that would be me and Jingling's first altercation. The first time he tried to speak to me, I told him get away from my door. He proceeded to stand there like he was going to step in the door. And his big-ass plexiglass knife that we had broken off the wall and sharpened, I pulled it on him, got my point across. He left me alone. Throughout the years, we became cordial. We talked here and there, but there was no, never did he ever come at me sideways.
And that's because Jay made a statement right away, pulling out that sword of justice and showing them, like, just because I'm this color and you this color doesn't mean that I'm weak and I will not put this sword of justice through you. Let's continue.
He's also a hustle man. So you got Bubba that hustles 7 days a week, gets no help from the streets. You've got Jingling, who hustles 7 days a week, gets no help from the streets. But the difference between these two is Bubba's trying to hustle to get cigarettes, to feed his little fat tummy, to get drugs here and there. Jingling hustles to be able to give stuff to these white boys. Jingling hustles so that he'll have things in the cut when nobody else has got it. Say we ain't been in the store in 3 weeks or a month. Everybody's fiending for cigarettes. Ain't nobody got no coffee. Jingling's going to have some, and that's when he's going to go to somebody he considers weak, and he's going to shoot his shot. So Bubba tells me, when I came in prison, Jay, I wasn't like this. And he'd still proclaim that when I go home, I mess with women. I don't mess with no men in the street. But in here, I guess this is kind of my job. This is how I survive. That's how we broke it down. It's already happened so many times at this point. Everybody knows it's happened, follows you compound to compound. There's so many different situations and ordeals that took place over the years that I started going with it.
And yeah, if anything happens to you, even the good things that happen to you follow you to other compounds, or things that you did that based off of prison politics that's positive will follow you. Things that happen to you that's negative will also follow you to another compound as well too, as I've heard from Jay Williams, as I've heard from Banky Pound, as I've heard from Dante from the Dante Show Network, as I've heard from Big Lance, that anything and everything follows you to every compound that you visit through your bid, or even bids. Continue.
Why get beat up when you can just take it and wow. My heart goes out to anybody that's ever dealt with anything like that. Like, wow. To hear that comment, why get beat up when you can just take it and it'll be over? Is more or less what he was saying. But he tells me, he says, when I started first doing time, Jingling was in the system. He's much younger at that point, much skinnier, much more muscle, was going to the weight pile, had some size on him. He was somebody. He said, then there it is. You have me, this young white dude. Drug charges, stealing charges, auto thefts, breaking and entering. I ain't never been locked up in my life. And I come in. At the time, they had a place in Virginia called The Wall, Springer Street, right? It's the old Virginia State Prison that has since been torn down. It is notorious. Anybody that talks about the wall will tell you it is literally hell on earth. Ask Banky Pound about the wall. Ask anybody from.
Yep, you hear him how he's talking about the wall. That Banky has talked about that in stories. I think I've released even one at least story where he has talked about that. But anybody who's then done prison in Virginia who's, older now, will definitely tell you about the wall. Let's continue. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
Virginia about the wall, especially if they're over 50 years old and they've been there. But he tells me, he says, I meet Jingling when I'm young, much more young. Comes up, he approaches me, starts talking to me, tells me if I have problems with anybody in here to let him know. He'll look out. If I'm hungry, let me know. I'll look out. Your shoes got holes in them, let me know. I'll get you a new pair. He said Jingling befriends him, takes him under his wing. He said, Jay, nobody came to me and said anything. Back then, this is one of the things where it's like the military. Don't ask, don't tell, you mind your business. If you see a man doing something, you know what he does, you just mind your business unless you want to be next on the menu. Stay out the way, right? That shit is crazy. He says, I thought the man was my friend.
The thing is, if somebody, even here on the streets or in prison or anywhere, is just offering you things, especially if it's a person that's the same sex as you, you should really be cautious of that, especially in prison. Because it's one thing, like if you go out and kick it with a homie, right? And you take turns, like when I go out with some of my homies, we take turns and pay for like a whole bunch of drinks for all of us, right? That's one whole different thing. But the things that he's talking about, like looking out for him, he's talking about like, if somebody tries to like fight him, I got your back. Okay, cool. All right, that's cool. Him talking about like, if you need some new shoes, if you need some new clothes, if you need some deodorant. Okay, that's when we start to get into what? Okay. As a homie, you could think, okay, maybe he's looking out for me. But usually, if a homie even in prison was going to look out for you, they would want you to look out for them in that same way. Because as I've heard from Jay Williams, Banky Pound, Dante from the Dante Show Network, people who do those types of things, as a homie, they would want you to look out for them the same way. And those people only kick it with people who can look out for them the same way. As we already know in this story, this guy, he don't have no outside family, no money coming in, no nothing. So if you don't have nobody that can help you help the person who's helping you, that's definitely odd, right? Just like I said when I talk about my homies. When we go and drink and go eat and go kick it, we take turns paying when we go. So like if we go out this weekend, I pay or whatnot, or whatever day we go out. I go out with my friends, I pay this time. The next time we go out, one of them will pay, right? And we circle around until we get through everybody, right? That's how me and my homies hang out. And so in prison, it would be the same thing. Anywhere, another dude would want another homie dude, if it's all homies, strictly hominess, would want you to look out for them just like how they looked out for you. So if a homie gave me 2 packs of deodorant, a thing of like ramen noodles, 4 packs of those, 3 or 4 or 5 things of sodas, all that, they would want you to give them for all of that. I'm not going to break down the whole prison thing. I've done that in other videos already about how you buy things and all that. But they would want you to give them back the same amount of all that, the same way. So if somebody gave you 5 packs of ramen noodles, they'll want you to give them 10. I guess I will break it down. If you give them 5 things of pop, 5 things of the soda cans, they'll want you to give them 10. Things like that. Now, if you have been homies and known each other maybe your entire life, like I said a lot about, like a lot of my friends that I kick it with, if you know each other like for an entire life, like went to school together, maybe they would just give it to you. But that's because that's somebody that you knew prior to prison. If you think somebody in prison that you just met in prison is just gonna hold you down in prison, just giving you stuff for free, you is crazy. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It can, but that's very, very rare. And you are taking a very serious risk when they could really rock a certain way. And if you don't know anything really about them, then you are putting yourself in a very bad situation. So I wouldn't even do that, because even out here on the streets, people wouldn't even just take things from people, because you just don't know what their intentions are. If you don't do what they want you to do, in the end, it could end very badly. It's just the same thing like if a woman takes things from a man that she don't really rock with or don't really like or whatever, and then the dude just snaps and then he ends up unaliving her because he feels like he got misled. It's all the same thing. And so you can't just take things from people and just think that, oh yeah, they understand that we just homies. Because the things that this dude is doing is not homie type. A homie would want you to pay back unless they really knew you in person out on the streets. If you knew somebody personally out on the streets, maybe they may just say, we cool, we brothers, we grew up in the same neighborhood, we know each other, we went to school together, we dated, you dated this one girl and I dated the other one, they were sisters and whatever, that's a whole nother different thing. But you just randomly meeting somebody in prison and thinking that they just gonna give you something is absolutely crazy. Let's continue though.
He had talked about family, talked about the stuff we did in the streets, the things we liked, was always bringing me food, and this took place for months. By now, I've gotten...
Always bringing him food. I don't want nobody bringing me no food unless they are a woman or somebody that I've known prior to going to prison if I was in prison. Unless, like, I really grew to know you and I see you rocking with other people and they say, oh, they solid and all this other stuff. People that I can just trust that I've met in prison. But you always got to be aware of your surroundings and all that in prison, even if somebody tell you somebody's solid. Like I just said, because a lot of the people will just mind their business. But if they do tell you that this person usually solid, they do look out for people. Maybe they got a whole bunch of money, or maybe they got like a rich family or something like that, and they may look out for some people because they may think you good people. But again, that is so rare. In most cases, it's stuff like this. He's basically pursuing this dude like it's a girl. It's like me, if I see a pretty chick that I like and I'm calling her pretty and I'm figuring out what she like, what type of candy she like, what type of food she like, and bringing it and buying it and getting it or whatever and trying to give it to her. That's basically what it's like. He's pursuing him like a girl. And you should know what those signs look like. But as the story goes on, you will see that this dude had plenty of warning signs to know, though. Let's continue. Not blaming them for what happened, but as you will see, there's things that gave it away. Let's continue.
Nicer clothes. If anybody else tried to come at me or extort me or try to find me food, and this took place for months. By now, I've got nicer clothes. If anybody else tried to come at me or extort me or try to fight with me or whatever, Jingling would hop right up in the middle. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like he would literally said he would stand in front of him and take that beef. Jay, I thought.
And he stood in front of him and took the beef. No. See, another thing, a homie, a real legitimate homie would be on one side while you on the other side and y'all both fighting the person. Not he pushing you back and he in front of you fighting them for you. Red flag. The light is flashing. I mean, even out here on the streets, a person, they'll jump in and help you because they rock with you. But they're not going to be doing the whole fight for you while you standing back. I have homies who rock with me, who would help me fight somebody. They may do a little bit more even because of, my eyesight situation. But I'm still going to be fighting too. They're not just going to beat them down and fight them for me and I'm going to just be standing there looking on. Like I'm watching a video game or something. No, I'm going to be right there square in the middle. So that's even a red flag right there. Another man willing to fight another man for you and you ain't even participating in the fight? Nah, that's a screaming red light. That should have told him, something ain't right here. Because that would tell me that. That would tell most people that, especially in prison too. Oh yeah. Let's continue.
He was my friend. And as we're having this conversation in 7 building, 100 pod, and I'm sitting there talking to Bubba, Grandma's over in the cell, and I can see Jingling across the pod, walking with that limp, talking to somebody, making some move. He says, Jay, me and that man were friends. We were good. He was probably one of the first people I considered a friend upon coming into DOC.
It's very hard to call anybody in prison your friend when you are just coming in. Some people, as I've heard here from Jay Williams, the guy that's telling this story right now, Bakey Pound, Off the Yard, Dante from the Dante Show Network, all of them, that even if you meet somebody in prison, shoot, you got to go like a year or two just to make sure that person really is rocking with you legitimately. And usually these dudes who are trying to turn you out, usually they try to move very quickly. So then you will know the difference between somebody who's trying to rock with you as a homie or they're trying to get something. It's the same thing like if you are trying to date a woman. If you really like that woman, you ain't going to wait years to try to pursue her. You're going to do it right away. You're going to do it fast. Maybe not super fast, but you're going to do it fast. And so the same thing, when you think about these dudes, it's the same thing. They pursue you fast like a man with a woman. A homie will try to figure out if you are solid enough to help out and all that over time. Especially knowing that they met you in prison and you in prison. Prison ain't no positive, good place. So everything takes time. And he instantly, very quickly assumed that this dude was his friend. Let's continue though.
He said, then he started doing little things. Like I walked by him one day, he said we were in the cell one day and I turned a certain way and he brushed up against my ass. And I looked back and he was like, oh, my bad.
And see, right there, this is where I was talking about where I said that he started to see the signs of not homie help and not hominess. He just brushed up against him, and you know, up against his bottom. That would have been time to just start using those hands and fighting or getting the sword of justice. Let's continue though.
He said, I didn't think nothing else about it. What he did, like I walked by him one day, he said we were in the cell one day, and I turned a certain way, and he brushed up against my ass. And I looked back, and he was like, oh, my bad, my bad. He said, I didn't think nothing else about it. What he did was he just tried you. He just did something to see what your reaction was going to be.
And see, he just tried him. Let's continue.
He said, but I didn't think he meant anything by it. He said, then he would make little comments. Oh, you look good in them pants. Oh, I like the way you shaved today.
Why would you tell another man that they look good in pants? Or you like the way that they shave today? That's screaming not homie help. That's literally screaming, I'm looking at you like a girl. And I want you like a girl. He still is not catching on. But the signs is right there because he's enjoying the help because he doesn't have nobody out on the street that's helping him. So he just keeps enjoying the help, even though those warning signs, they right there. Most of us will be like, oh no, I'm good. I don't need no more help. I'll struggle first. Boy, that's crazy. Let's continue. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
He's complimenting another man. It's a major red flag. Ain't nobody else in prison telling you, hey, you look good. I like the way you did your beard. Like, oh, that looks nice. That's a red flag. Stay away from. He says, and then out of nowhere, Jay, like it legitly came from left field and completely took me by surprise. He said, out of nowhere, he started doing things that were a little more aggressive, like actually squeezing my butt. Like he said, I turned around one time, he did it, and I pushed his away and said, man, he said, man, I'm just playing with you, man. We play like that. And
no, we do not play like that in there. You do not play like that in there. You do not grab somebody else's bottom, squeeze it, and now he claiming, oh, we play like that in here. No, no, no. That's how you and people like you play in there. That's not how a majority of the people react in prison. And this dude still is not catching on. He's grabbing your bottom, he's squeezing it, slapping your bottom, all that, and you still ain't catching on to something just may not be right with this dude. Because even I know people who have like even more serious disabilities than myself, even with my little eyesight stuff, that would even know this is not right. And he's not even catching on at all. This is crazy, yo. Just because he's giving you things and looking out for you, you just, hey, you in prison. You was out there doing stuff you'd have no business doing. You just got to be able to make your way. You know, if the meals that they serve it ain't really that good, and you don't have nobody on your books, then hey, you just got to make those meals work. Because the people who will look out for you, they gonna want something else, and it ain't gonna be. It's either gonna be a person's gonna want some money, or they gonna want what Jingling wants, which is gonna be to turn you out. And if you don't have no money coming in from off the streets, you don't have no money to give, then nobody ain't gonna give you nothing because they already know you don't have nothing to give them back. Let's continue.
yeah, no, we don't. No, we don't. He said, things got more in my butt. Like he said, I turned around one time and he did it, and I pushed his away and said, man, he said, man, I'm just playing with you, man. We play like that in here. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
That's how you play.
He said, things got more aggressive. He said, they were talking one day and Jingling leaned in. Like they were talking, he said, let me tell you something. And he leaned in and tried to kiss him. He's like, oh, what is you doing? Jingling has fought behind him, spent plenty of money on him, feeds him, has clothed him.
So now he tried to lean in, trying to kiss him. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? He still is not catching these hints, though, y'all. Still not catching these hints. Leaned in trying to kiss him. And he's still not catching on. And then he's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? He did, like Jay just said, he did spent plenty of money on him. He didn't fight at other people behind him because he's looking at him like a girl. Just like what we would do for any chick that we talking to. If, some dude or somebody trying to, like, do something to the chick that we rocking with or something. It's like that. And he still keep thinking that this is homie stuff. He's fighting the person for you, not helping you. You're standing there watching and he beating up the person for you. He giving you his food. He giving you clothes. I mean, these are, like I said, these are things like I would do for a woman, or that any of y'all would do for a woman, or things that a woman would do for her man. Not somebody doing for another man. If a homie showed up to my house and said, Frank, I bought you some clothes. What? What? Or, you know what I'm saying? That's just crazy. Let's continue.
He's smoking good. All the cigarettes he smoked come through Jingling. Like I said, he ain't got no job. This is at the wall back in the day. He said, Jay, and then what I thought would never happen in a million years happened. He said, here I am. I'm just doing a couple years. I think he had like 3 or 4 years. This is late 80s at this point, right? He said he sends me to the cell to get something. And it's under the mat. He said, I go in the cell. I lift the mat. I fold it. And I go to get what I'm supposed to get. I was like some tobacco, some weed, something folded up in a piece of paper. He said, the next thing I know, everything flashed. Everything got bright. Jingling had come in the cell behind him and punched him in the back of the head. He said, before I could fully understand what was going on, I got hit a couple more times. He said, my bell is ringing. And he said, Jingling hits hard, Jake.
The dude then came in behind him into the cell and hit him in the back of the head and knocked him out. Was punching him in the back of the head. He said that the dude hit him hard, that the dude hits hard. That's crazy. Let's continue.
He said he had me on the bed and he had me face down on the bed and he's just punching me in the back of my head. Punching me in the back of my head. And he's asking him, are you ready? Are you ready? People stay out of prison, man, but he's asking him, are you ready?
He's punching him in the back of the head, telling him, are you ready? Because he's so mad that he done helped out this dude and that this dude will not be with him romantically. This is absolutely crazy. Him acting like this man is a woman and trying to force him to want him romantically. And sends him into his cell to get something underneath the mat, go in right behind him, punch him all in the back of the head. Absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
He said he's squirming, trying to get up. He can't understand what's going on. This is supposed to be his friend. This is supposed to be his homeboy. Y'all are like this. Yeah, you did little things that made him feel uncomfortable, but he never thought it would go there. He said he hit him one more time, and everything went dark. He said, Jay, I'm glad that he knocked me out. He said, I'm glad that he knocked me out, because I don't think I would have wanted to be awake for what he did. He said, when I come to, I was laying on the bed, groggy, didn't know how much time had passed. My pants were off. Wow.
He came to, he was all groggy. His pants was off. In freaking sane. Because the dude could not handle the rejection after helping the dude. That he knocked him out and took his manhood. Absolutely insane. Let's continue. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. join the young Tripp family. Crazy.
He said, I get up, and by now I realize what's happened. Back of my head is busted open. I have knots. The man knocked me all the way out and took it. Knocked him all the way out and then just took it from me. He said, so I get up and I go to stand and I fall because I'm discombobulated. He said, there's stuff running down my backside. He said,
oh my goodness, stuff running all down his backside, all that. Insane. Let's continue.
I go over to the toilet and I throw up. He said, I've got all these cramps and the door is shut. He said, I sit down on the toilet and I use the bathroom. He got into more detail, and it was just, as he's telling me this, I'm looking at Jingling across the pond, right? Many years have passed. Jingling done got old, he done got fat, but he still does the same thing, except now he's a nice guy about it. He tries to pay his way into doing stuff like that. He said, I just remember feeling so just betrayed, hurt, scared. So I cleaned myself up, and in the midst of cleaning myself up, Jingling comes to the door. Said, he asked him, are you all right? He said, I didn't even know what to say. I was terrified at this point of him. He said he stands there at the bar, is telling me I didn't want to have to do it like that, but I tried to be like subtle and come at you in little ways, and you kept brushing me off. So I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened. It got the best of me. I snapped out. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Scared to death of him. He said, but he's standing there talking to me, saying I'm sorry, like he stepped on my shoe or something. And you just completely this man. He said through the course of him standing at this sink, he said now he doesn't know what to do. The door is shut in the cell. He got the bars. Jingling's on the outside of it. He's on the inside. He said, and he's standing there talking to him. And he said, next time it ain't got to be like that. I'm sorry the first time I was so fucked up, but next time ain't got to be like that.
Next time it don't got to be like that. Bull. That dude should have been ready to use that sword of justice. I've heard of stories where people tried to do stuff like this, and the sword of justice was pulled out. Let's continue.
He said, you need to understand now. Everybody knows what happened. People walk by, they saw it, they heard it. I done talked to people. People know what happened. So it can either be me moving forward, or it can be everybody. It could be that guy over there that's almost 7 foot tall. You know, like, that's probably not, like, he lets him know this is going to continue to take place. I'm sorry I hurt you. Bubba tells me, he said, you legit?
That is crazy. He told him that everybody know what I did because everybody saw it. Either he left the door open and somebody distracted the guards, or he told everybody, or they heard it. It's like how he said they heard him in there doing it, what he was doing to him. Absolutely crazy. And he's telling them now it could either be me again, or it could be somebody else in here. He is literally terrifying this man. Crazy. Let's continue.
He made me feel bad. Like I had done something wrong. Like it was my actions that caused him to hurt me like this. He said, you can't go to administration. If I go to the guards about this, I'm a dead man. When I come out the hole, I'm labeled a snitch. There's nowhere else they're going to send me. They're going to put me in a hole, bring me right back out in the population. We do not have PC over here. There is no protective custody. He said, so now everybody knows. You know, he said, not only that, a lot of the guys that seen us hanging out knew what he was up to. They had seen him do stuff like this before. But I didn't know. I had no clue. Mind you, they live in the same cell together. So Jingling's going to come in here, that door's going to shut, y'all have to sleep in here around each other, y'all going to be around each other. Like, this stuff is going to continue to take place. You got one or two options. Go tell the people to kill him. Bubba ain't no killer. Bubba's not even a fighter. Not even by the slightest is Bubba even a fighter. Mind you, once again, as he is telling me this story, which is, it's hard for me to even repeat, I'm looking at the man that did this to him. I've done business with this man. When I need CDs or I need tapes, we still had the tapes back then. It's the guy I'd holler at. He'd go get them. I told you I had to pull a blade on him as soon as I met him because I had heard the stories. Nobody told Bubba the stories about Jingling prior to meeting him. They just let it be what it was. Prison was a different place back then. He said it wouldn't be long. Day or two after that, they're in the cell late night. And it happens again. He said he grabs him, he starts choking him, he pulls his fist back and tells him, don't make me hurt you, man. It ain't got to be like this. Just go along with it. You making things worse than what they are. Just go along with it. Y'all need to pay attention. This shit is real. Just go along with it. I'm not going to let nobody else in here hurt you. Ever will I let anybody else in here hurt you. But this is the price you pay. He said, so then it happens again. And again. And again. To the point that it becomes normal. To the point that everybody around here knows what's going on.
That's crazy. He just keeps doing it to him and keeps doing it to him until it becomes normal. How could something like that even become normal? But again, that's because you're locked up and the dude, you live in the same cell as him. And who you gonna go tell? Because you go tell the guards, you a snitch. The other inmates is minding their own business. You don't have no family on the outside. They all abandoned you or whatever. Crazy. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. I drop videos every day. Let's continue.
Said, did he make you dress like a girl? He said, no, he didn't want me to be a girl. He wanted me to be just like I was. He just wanted to have the option there to do that to me whenever the chance came. I came down on him, like, telling me stories. He says, so something happened, right? I don't know how they ended up not being cellmates no more, but some time had passed. He was in the cell with Jingling for quite a while, a year, maybe 2 years. I don't know the exact timeline, but something happens to where they're no longer cellmates. He said, now guys know. They know what he was doing to me. They know I'm not a fighter, so they know they can do it. He said, I ended up in the cell with this dude named Randy. B. Randy. I've done a story on this. He said, and I'm asleep one night, and I'm on the top bunk, and I wake up to this dude touching me. Not just touching me, but, how do I say this, man? Relieving me. B. Randy wasn't somebody that wanted your backside. He wanted your front side. If you get what I'm saying. He wanted the meat. Like, he didn't.
This is absolutely crazy. So now he moves in a cell with another monster. This monster is playing with his front. This is absolutely crazy. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Man, this is crazy.
He said, now try to push his hand away, and he grabs my hand and he holds it down. He said, I try to sit up. Bigger dude slings me back on the bed and tells him, just go with it. Don't make me hurt you. He said, so now I've went from being, how do I even say this shit? The female in the situation to being the man in the situation, being pinned down by somebody that's playing the role of the female. Said, so he stood there beside my bed, holding me down with his hand underneath the blanket, continued doing what he was doing. Once it was over with, he seemed satisfied with the situation. He got nothing out of it. He went on about his business. He said, and that would progress. There are actually men like this. Big Dana. Somebody go over in Banky's chat next time you see Banky and ask Banky about Big Dana. B. Randy, these type of dudes. These aren't dudes that want your backside. They want your front side. But they're aggressive with it. They're very ugly, so nobody's trying to do that with them. He said, this went on for a while, Jay. So now I've got the experience of being the victim. And once again, I'm the victim. But I've been on both sides of, like, how this can go down. I had to take a break. This shit is... So this whole situation with B. Randy continues to take place for a while. He said, and Jay, that's just how I became who I am today. Guys in there would always joke about it. There were times that I seen him run up debts and go try to borrow stuff from people to pay back the debt, but you don't go to the store. So the only way they're going to get paid back is when you hustle it up to give it back to them. Anything can happen. When you're bringing stuff from one building to the next, stuff off the yard into here, and you're doing illegal activity in prison, it's only so long before you get caught. So somebody loaning him something comes with the knowing that you possibly might never get this money back because he stays in the middle of some shit. I should have been a therapist. I'm very good at listening and asking questions, and I don't know, people just feel comfortable talking to me. By now, the timeline is, I would say at this point, we're around 2009, definitely 2009, 2010 era. And I can say that because they took smoking out of prison. And that's when I really got to see what Bubba would do in order to survive. 2010, they posted a memo on the bulletin board. This is October. Effective January, blah, 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 smoking will no longer be allowed in DOC. Up until such and such date. If you get caught with it, it then will become an institutional charge. Your ass is going to the hole. Tobacco started running out fast. At the moment that they put this memo up, they stopped selling tobacco. So it's like this, if you got them, smoke them, but after that, it's done. You're not going to smoke in prison no more. Them taking smoking out of prison changed the entire dynamic of prison. When I thought prison couldn't get any worse than it was, it got worse. Because now if you've got tobacco, you become a target. If you're not built like that, you can't hold your own, and you're not willing to push a blade or fight at a moment's notice, guys are coming for it. We got a dude on a pod at the time named Chop. Now, Chop messed with the female CO that was in the booth. He ended up getting caught, ended up getting sent up off there. She lost her job. But Chop also messed with boys. Chop also hustled. For some reason, once the tobacco was gone, Chop had a lot of tobacco. A lot of tobacco. To where everybody was buying tobacco from Chop at really high prices. Bubba didn't have no money. Bubba going to Chop, hey, let me get a short. Just like, let me get a little piece of that cigarette and get off of it. Hey, let me look in here. Let me grab a couple little cigarette butts. Chop was looking out for him. Bubba's up there on the top tier one day at Chop's cell, and he's done ran up a debt. And they're arguing. And now Bubba's not really arguing. Bubba's trying to, like, diffuse the situation and tell him, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to pay you. Mind you now, this is a very timid dude, man. And Chopper's like, I know you're going to pay me. Go in the cell. And Bubba's trying to back away. Chop grabs him and pushes him toward the cell and says, Bubba, you already know, man. Go in the cell. You're not going to play me in front of everybody. I'm going to get what's mine. Go in the cell, Bubba. Put his head down. And he went on in the cell. Chop shut the door. Put the pillow up. You shove the pillow in the opening of the door so nobody can see in. And after about 5-6 minutes, the door opens. Bubba comes out adjusting his pants. Chop comes out. His wife beat her back on. Lights a cigarette and stands there. And I watch Bubba walk down the tier, man. Back down to the bottom and into the cell with Grandma. It's the craziest part of everything.
That is absolutely crazy. He got his debt paid by basically being with him romantically. This is absolutely sad just to hear this story. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. This is terrible. This is why people should also back their family when they go to the penitentiary. But also, we know he has a history of stealing out on the streets, and maybe he stole from family and stuff, and maybe that's why they didn't want to help him. But this is absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
If you think you've heard the craziest things that you could possibly hear and that it couldn't get no worse, Bubba ends up getting sick. And he ends up getting shipped from there. And he goes to a place called Deerfield. And nobody knew why. Nobody. And then Grandma puts it out there one day. Bubba was HIV positive. Had been HIV positive for many years, and they were treating him while he was in prison. But you don't get the same medicine in there that you do out here.
HIV positive. Did he get it from being in there with connected to the dudes, or did he get it from being out on the street messing with the girls? I'm gonna probably say the dudes. That's crazy. Probably even the first dude that he was kicking it with. The Jingling dude. Crazy. Let's continue.
So he got real sick. So they shipped him off to another place that could deal with his medical needs, be in Deerfield. Wouldn't be but a couple of years after that, he died from HIV.
He passed a couple years later from HIV. Somebody, I'm sure, in that prison gave him HIV. That's crazy. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. This is why you got to do good out here on the streets. Go get a good job, not be on drugs. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm not talking about him in general. It's just you got to do the right thing. Don't end up on drugs. Do not be robbing and stealing from people. Do not be doing things you don't have no business doing to end up in prison. This is absolutely sad, heartbreaking, crazy, everything all together. But some people will say, well, let's think about the people that he actually victimized and stole from on the streets and all that. Yeah, you could think about all that too. They're the real victims. But then he also got victimized in prison. But prison is where you go when you do things bad that you don't have no business doing, though, too. And karma does come calling. Oh, man. Let's continue.
And the craziest part of it all is looking back on it. I know of a lot of different men that let Bubba run up debts so that they could do things to him.
And that just, like I said, that just tells me right there, it was probably somebody in prison who gave it to him. Intentionally running up debts just so they can do things with him romantically. Insane. Let's continue. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family.
I knew men that had just ran up on him, and since they knew he wouldn't fight, grab him and throw him in the cell and go in there and do it to him, not knowing the entire time he's HIV positive. Jingling never knowing he was HIV positive. Always speculated that Jingling had AIDS. Always. Just because he went to the pill window, he always got that cup with all those pills in it. And I don't know if Jingling was the one that gave it to him. But what I do know is he continued to mess with him after he contracted it. Chop taking him in that cell thinking he was, this big bully, when in reality, you're a whole entire weirdo. You're a sexual predator. To anybody that could do anything like that to another man, a woman, a child, you are a monster. You're a sexual predator. There is no place on this planet for people like you.
Facts. Let's continue.
Should be taken out back. The victims should be handed ball peen hammers, and they should be able to take care of you. Yeah, Bubba transferred off and ultimately lost his life to AIDS. I can give you a whole bunch of stories on Bubba. I was around Bubba for years. Now, he was not my guy. This was not somebody I kicked it with. This was not somebody I walked with. This is somebody I would talk to here and there. Bubba was very entertaining, very great at telling stories. He would pass your time. I got over the whole homophobia thing. I'm not going to sit and talk to no booty bandit, but in just sitting at the table with Bubba one day, and Bubba was an eye dude, and having him tell me the story of how he became a boy, of how he got turned out in prison. It was sickening to hear. I have that feeling in my stomach right now of just queasiness. It's almost like a hangover feeling when I talk about stuff like this. And you can say what you want. These stories are very real. This is a very real situation that did happen. It doesn't happen as much today as it used to. So for guys coming out of prison now, they'll say, man, that stuff's not happening. It's not happening like it used to. Because you got so many guys willing to give it up. You got guys coming in now with breasts. You got guys coming in now with butt jobs. You got guys that are coming in off the streets, and this is what they do. You got guys that go to prison with the plans of getting in a relationship before they get there. Guys that were dating men on the streets. Back then, this wasn't that. Most of those type of men were in the closet. because they were either going to be attacked or they were afraid of somebody forcing them to do something. Back then, it was a much more forceful act than it is today. And even today, you have guys that force themselves on others. Because I don't think that is I don't know if it's a crime of pleasure. I think it's a crime of power. Rest in peace to Bubba, man. Who knows? Had he never picked up crack, never started doing crack, he never went to prison, probably never would have contracted AIDS, and he probably never would have got turned out. That was a tough story to tell, man.
And Jay said nothing but facts, as I already talked about that. Maybe if he would have never did no drugs, never robbed anybody, never taken anything from anybody, he would have never contracted AIDS. He would have never passed away in prison. He would have never got turned out by Jingling. None of that. Let's continue.
These are not pleasant stories, but I want you to get something from this. You can avoid anything and everything that's anything like that when it comes to being locked up if you don't get locked up. Do not get out here and get to committing crimes. I don't care how tough you are. Listen to me when I say this. I don't care how tough you are. There is somebody much tougher that will rip your head off like you're nothing. There are men in there that thrive on violence. Monsters are real. There are real predators, alpha predators, roaming the prisons right now. And the only way you can avoid them and never have to even worry about being part of any of these stories or having any of this on your conscience or being gone through any of this is to stay out of lockup. Go find you a normal job. Whatever you're doing, stop. Just stop. Or you could become the next Bubba. Turned out in prison. Well, as y'all know, it is Friday. It is payday. Time to get this money, time to get paid. I hope everybody's getting paid today. And if you ain't getting paid, I hope you get your hands on some type of a little bit of money, or at least you have a good day. I tell these stories with the hopes of keeping somebody else from ever having to go through what so many people have gone through. I'm sure it's going to be somebody, man, you talking about yourself in the comment section. I've never had anything like that happen to me. If I had, I would talk about it because I feel it would deter the next person. But I've met many men that have. Jingling was a real monster. Bubbalicious was just a regular dude until he ran into Jingling. Stay safe, people. And most importantly, stay free. Ways, these jails, these streets, these prisons, they're all just crazy world inside of a already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. Just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? Like always, this is Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Man, y'all know how we do. Salute.
Jay Williams. Man, that was a heartbreaking story, but kind of like Jay said at the end, if he would have just probably got a legitimate job, lived a better life, not get caught up in drugs, he would have probably never been turned out. It still doesn't excuse what dude did to him and other dudes after the fact. As I said, it travels from compound to compound. The positive things regarding positive prison politics and the things that you do that are bad, travel. And the things that happen to you by others travels along with you as well, too. Good, bad, the ugly, everything. It travels with you. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Whew, this was a crazy one, and it was long. Only a handful of people are actually subscribing, so we need to push that subscriber count up. Join the Young Tripp family, hit the bell notification, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. There's, really, the story tells itself. So there's not really nothing to break down except, like I said already, if somebody's just giving you something in prison, don't take it. unless you really know that they're a solid person and you got witnesses from other people that they're really a solid dude. Because if you just take things, you could be taking it from somebody who wants something more than money, or they know you don't have no money and they're trying to get something else from you. Romantic stuff. And you don't rock that way. And you like women. They're going to make you like men if you keep taking things from them. I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Peace.